It's impossible.
Is it?
It couldn't be.
Couldn't it?
I am...
Are you?
I am the one to avenge them. Me! Me! I'm going to defeat you!
Hello everyone, once again, and today we're making a Warframe tier list again. Now, as you know, I've made several tier lists of Warframes in the past, and those videos are like an hour long. So I'm gonna go a little bit fast today, especially with all the frames that, you know, haven't changed much since last time. There's a few new ones that I will go into a little bit more detail on their placement and everything. But the meta of the game has been relatively the same. I mean, there's been a huge damage rework and like faction scaling rework and everything like that. But in terms of how all Warframes perform in relative to each other, it is pretty similar to since last time. So we're gonna go real quick this time. So I've set up the tiers here. They don't mean too much. It's just like, you know, the bottom tiers like would need a rework or something, but there's exceptions. Let's get started here. Ash, I'm gonna put Ash in A this time because he, you know, he's a good solo frame, does a lot of good damage. Atlas, probably C tier, needs a rework, but you know what? He has a pseudo exalted and a lot of augments that can do some pretty good damage if you really want to build around him, so not the worst. Banshee needs a rework. She is still like the best focus farm frame for your regular daily focus caps on like Hydron, but really doesn't do much and is very squishy, and a lot of, you know, her abilities don't work on most things in the game that you would like them to. Baruch, let's put him like bottom of S tier here. He's you know, the highest damage exalted weapon in the game, and you know, otherwise just really good tank and utility abilities and stuff like that. Caliban is the worst frame in the game. He doesn't do anything. He wants all of his power stats to be way higher than you could possibly get them all in tandem, and none of it works. Citrine is pretty good. She does, you know, good slash damage, good heals and damage reduction team wide and everything. Not bad support. Not much to say in that regard. You could use her. She's pretty good. Chroma, let's put him in like above Atlas, like C tier. He's definitely needs a rework, but you know, Vex armor is still what it's always been, and Elemental Ward still has some niche uses, especially against certain enemies or with certain weapons. Let's go to Dagoth right here. She's a good A tier. She you know, armor strips, but only in a small like forward AoE. Nothing bad about that. She's just a little bit unsurvivable unless you really want, you know, really build around, like put a bunch of defense mods on her and stuff like that. Not bad though. Dante goes in S tier for sure. They nerfed the shit out of him like a week after he came out. They should not have nerfed him. He was absolutely fine on release. But even after the nerfs, he's a good S tier. Just huge AoE, big slashes, and huge overguard, and everybody loves that. Ember got a couple of tweaks recently. She's like a solid B tier, you know, good AoE heat damage. Heat damage in general is very good. She's got a great armor strip. A little bit energy hungry is her main problem, but not bad. Equinox definitely needs a rework, but she'd be at like the top of this rework tier. She, you know, the classic Equinox patty caking is still a thing, but you just really don't need to do any of that. You know, she's cool, I guess. Excalibur, let's put him in like A, like right here above Ash, I guess. He, you know, he's got a lot of different unique builds. Like all of his abilities can be a different thing. Like you can build around all four of his abilities to do effective things with. And his one also got a few buffs since last time, and it's really cool. And he does Virgil stuff, and everybody loves that. And it's just really good damage. Frost, he, you know, previously was one of the worst frames, but he's actually received several buffs and, you know, tweaks to like cold damage in general. Since last time, I put him above Ember at this point. He's actually doing very well. He definitely needs a rework just in terms of his 1 and his 2 don't do fucking anything. So you can, you know, subsume one of them off. His 3 is the same as it always was. It's just a worse version of Gara or Zephyr, depending on what exactly the mission you're doing is. But his 4 really carries him, especially with the augment and arcanes and everything like that, and the buffs to cold damage. Really shot him up here. He you know, again, could use some more changes, but he's in a good spot right now. You can definitely use Frost, which is great. Gara, S tier for sure. You know, the exalted melee on her 1 makes huge glass nukes with armor stripping and everything. It's great, but it's very energy hungry. If you don't want to go with that build, if you want to go with just like a basic like caster build with her instead, you know, still really good damage reduction on her 2. You can subsume off her 3 for something that's more reliable energy economy than her 3. A lot of people make a case for it, but you need an augment mod where you could just use like Nourish or Energize or Energy Nexus or all kinds of other things, but she's really good otherwise. Garuda, definitely, you know, huge. You build her for big tankiness because her abilities are very scalable, especially her 4, just, you know, forces slash procs on all of your attacks, which, hey, guess what? Slash damage is the best damage type in the game still. So there you go. Goss still is rocking with that thing in my previous Goss video where his shields, like his shield refresh timer, can be infinitely short. So he's just invincible to anything but toxin procs, and then he does the huge armor strip instant kill AoE stuff with his 3 and 4, and that's really good. So building for a lot of range, and you can check out my previous Goss video to find a good starting point for that build. Grendel got a big rework. I don't know if it's been since last time. I would put him at the bottom of S tier. He's great now, just huge AoE viral and big armor stripping, and, you know, lots of enemy control in the way that they die. You know. Let's see, Gyre. She's kind of not great. She's just very squishy. She does pretty good big electric damage, and there's been some buffs to electric damage in general with the melee arcanes, but, you know, can't survive very well unless you know, of course, you can build for it. Any Warframe can survive if you play right and mod right, but Gyre doesn't have any actual defensive capabilities unique to her, per se. So, yeah, she could definitely use a buff, or maybe a new augment would help her out. Harrow is, you know, the big crit chance on your guns, and slight invincibility on his 4, pretty good. And his 1 is just, you know, huge lockdown. Everybody loves that. Very useful, and refills your shields and everything. He's a good shield gating tank Warframe if you want to play like that for some reason. Hildren way up here, same as ever, or at least since last time. You know, big armor strip AoE with heat damage AoE at the same time. That kills shit. That kills shit real good. So everybody loves that. And, you know, huge tanky with her giant shields. Weak to toxin, just like Goss, but, you know, what are you gonna do? You fucking jump above the AoE, you'll be okay. Hydroid got that huge rework. I believe that was already a thing in the last tier list video, so he's way up here. He's as the damage system has been changed since last time. He's not like worse or anything, but you know, he's the best loot frame, that's for sure. Although maybe Korra competes for that spot too. I would just put him here just because he's, you know, lacking in anything unique. Like he's got that passive that makes him do corrosive stripping, like 100% stripping, but you can do that with Archon shards. He just mitigates needing to do that, which is cool. So he goes way up here. And Naro's got a big rework too. He's I'd still put him at the top of B. He's definitely tankier than he was, and he does way more damage than he used to do. He actually does damage with his abilities now. But you know, he's not breaking any records still. He's fine. He's in a good spot. Then Yvara. Top of B tier, she's, you know, big AoEs and everything with her augment on her 4. Infinite stealth, useful for niche things like hunting in the open worlds, etc. And she does really good AoE slash damage and everything like that, so that's good. Jade is one of the newer ones. She's gonna go pretty high up, maybe below Citrine, above Dagoth. Let's move Dagoth down, like right here is fine. Jade flies forever and does big Jade Light stuff, big CC stripping, you know, stuff like that. Kind of a simple Warframe. She's not, again, not breaking any records. But, you know, they designed her well. She does what she's supposed to do, and she's really fun. So, all the way up here. Korra, let's put her below Gara here. You know, huge damage with the whip and huge CC with the Strangle Dome and a loot frame. You know, what could go wrong? She doesn't have very much defense, but the CC on her 4 is useful for that. And her whip gets rid of overguard to let enemies get caught in the 4. So it's a good loop for Korra. She's doing well right now. Kalervo, Jesus Christ. Kalervo's going to stay up here, just you watch. If you put 5 Tau purple shards on Kalervo, you can hit damage cap with almost any weapon, any melee weapon in the game, just infinitely, just for free. And he's got a pretty good amount of overguard, not infinite or anything like Dante, but bigly. Kalervo is one of the best Warframes, hands down. And you can get him super easy, super early into Duviri. Everybody loves that. Lavos definitely needs a rework. I mean, he got a bunch of new buffs recently with, like, he got like a new augment and like some stuff changed about him. I tested it out. You know, he's a primer. We have Epitaph for that, and the Epitaph Prime just came out. So I don't know. Lavos needs some kind of defense, or just the concept of a cooldown based Warframe. He relies on enemy density if you don't have like a Nautilus with you or some kind of grouping ability. And you really don't want to subsume anything off him, because then you're missing out on your elemental combinations. Like you could, you know, if you only need a certain like viral or corrosive. But it's just a big hindrance if you're playing Lavos. A lot of people find him very fun. He's definitely not the worst Warframe, but he needs more changes. Definitely. Limbo, let's put him like down here. He does what he's done for years. He's just very simple, does okay damage. He's the big CC Warframe, you know, simplifies any mobile defense mission or timer based mission. But you know, you can survive by being in the void, but if you're in the void, you have to let other enemies into the void, and they'd be frozen, but you know, you could just kill things instead of freezing them. Loki down here, above Banshee. Let's put him like down here. Loki, same old thing he does. He turns invisible, and he takes away enemies' guns. Oh boy, but what if they were dead instead? You know, the classic, like we've been saying the same thing about Loki for a long time. Mag, you know, good shield gating Warframe, shield based Warframe. Kind of the worst Hildren, but she's definitely not bad. Her bubble is really good. I think the main thing dragging her down is just the fact that you have to rely on your weapons with like her 2, you know, to like you want an Archoplasmor or something that works well with it. There's a lot of weapons that just don't work with Mag, so that's just kind of annoying. But she definitely can perform, you know, in a long duration mission like a survival or something. Mesa still way up here. She's with the I don't know if this has been since last time, but you know, new gun mods have come out, buffer damage a little bit. The whole new damage system is very good for her, just because enemies have less armor, more health, which is, you know, something that corrosive damage really chews through, and viral damage obviously really helps, and Mesa is all about that. So she goes way up here. Mirage has received some changes. Eclipse got nerfed, but It kind of works better for her now just because it's not light based like it used to be. Now it is just a toggle. You can switch between the damage reduction or the damage boost, but they nerfed the damage reduction cap. So you use the damage boost, and then she doesn't really have great defense. So you want to subsume something for that. But you can make it work for sure. She's better than she used to be, but we're mad about Eclipse. All my homies are mad about Eclipse. Necros, another loot frame. You know, he does the Shield of Shadows thing if you want to survive, but you're just going to be looting and terrifying for armor strip. The armor strip's really good, but he doesn't scale very well. You know, you gotta bring guns. You gotta bring guns with Necros. Neja way up here, above Baruch. Like, yeah, he did get a new augment that made him fucking insane, and then they halved the range on his 4 when you equip the augment, so we don't use that augment anymore. Still insane damage, free subsume slot on his 1 or his 2, or you know, whichever one is the 2. Most people do like the 1 or the 4 if you're not going to use the augment. You could do, but Neja, you know, same as ever, really good fashion. It's one of my best fashion frames. Nidus hasn't changed much. Let's put him above Necros. Yeah, you know, it's classic, does the big stacks. He's got a lot of different unique builds that all kind of amount to the same. Spam your 1 and your 2, and then stay in your 4 for any kind of tanking shenanigans that you want to be doing. Health tanking isn't the best right now, but Nidus is the best at it. So he's quite middle of the road, quite B tier. He's doing okay. Nova, just, you know, she's Nova. Let's put her above Grendel. Yeah, that's fine. Big explosions, slow, super fast. Got the damage reduction on her 1, and you can put Gloom on her to completely lock down any area that you want for absolutely ever. Very useful CC. Gets through Overguard with her 4, and it's very good. Nova's always been good, but she's still doing fine. Nyx down here. Yeah, like, she's got, like, Psychic Bolts is a single target, or at least it has punch through, but a mostly single target armor strip, where we have things like Fire Blast and Terrify, and then she doesn't do anything else. So she's better than Loki and Caliban, but geez. Oberon also needs a lot of help. That's I would put him above Lavos at least. It doesn't do much. He tries to do a lot, but it amounts to, like, he gives you an armor buff and pretty good healing, but we don't really need that at this point, you know, especially as levels get higher. He really falls off hard. Octavia, way up in the, this S tier is very large. This is a good sign. Octavia, let's see. I would put her maybe here, below Goss. You know, very effective instant CC with her 2, and very good energy economy because of her passive. You know how it is. I've talked about these things before. Octavia is great. Protea also has a couple new builds, couple new augments since last time, but same old thing with the turrets and subsume off her 4, or she did get an augment that lets her 4 make her 1 or 2 strip pretty well, but it's not the meta build to use that with her. You could though. You know, there's options. Protea is just great in general. Corvex is new since last time. He does radiation damage and light CC and has no defenses whatsoever. He's basically just worse Atlas, and there's really no good way to fashion him. So C tier. Revenant, bam. He's just the face of high level easy mode right now with his 2, and he can share his 2 with the augment and everything. Then he's got, you know, the mathematical insta-kill stuff with his 3 and his 1, which is, you know, not terribly useful, but if for some reason your weapons just aren't performing, you can do that. And then, you know, a lot of people put like Nourish or Roar on his 4 just for big damage. And he's just like the best weapons platform up there with Calevo at least. Rhino, you know, that's same thing. I'll put him in like 3rd. I mean, Calevo's really just that good. Iron Skin, same as it always. I think since last time they changed Iron Skin from its own sort of health multiplier. They changed it to Overguard, and all that means is that things that proc off of taking damage from your health work on Overguard, and that's all that changed. So it's a slight buff, doesn't really do much, but Rhino gets the benefit of double Roar stats and, you know, very, very high, like the highest Overguard in the game. You can get upwards of 10 million with even a very simple, like not energy hungry build anymore. The only thing is that most of his really good meta builds around Iron Skin and Roar, you would need to subsume off his Stomp, which is painful. Because, but they also, there's another thing, they nerfed Stomp to not work on Overguard anymore, and that fucking sucks. So, but, you know, all the more reason to subsume it off. It's the free subsume slot for him. It's a shame, but Rhino is still one of the best frames, hands down. You know, I don't think anybody would argue with that. Saren also. Below Neja, yeah, I mean, Saren, giant AoE, infinite damage over time, shenanigans going on. It's just super fast and pretty tanky. She got a very high health pool. She can actually health tank probably better than Nidus because of like regenerative molt if you want to use that. But a lot of people go with Gloom, which is, you know, because she's doing infinite damage in a fucking gigantic like tile set wide AoE. Gloom just makes it impossible for her to die until something can literally just one-shot you through your shields. Very difficult to die with Saren. Sevagoth Prime just came out like a week ago or something. A lot of people don't know how to use Sevagoth effectively. Now, the thing is, I've only ever made one video on Sevagoth right after he came out with a build focused on his 4. And the thing is, really, his 4 isn't good. His 1 and his 2, you combo them, and it pretty much does the Revenant thing of like mathematically instant killing things, like draining 100% of their health. It's really good, and with both of his augments, it's really big range, infinite damage, auto kill ghosts that fly around and seek enemies. What's not to love about that? The only thing is that his 4, which is an entirely second Warframe, we just subsume it off. So I would say Sevagoth needs a rework almost. He is my favorite Warframe, and he is really good, but his only defense is Gloom, and he has a very low base health pool, so you want, like, I don't know, Arcane Blessing if you can afford to fit it somewhere, or a bunch of Archon Shards to help him out. So not the best, but very, very effective in all levels until you start taking damage for some reason. He's also very energy hungry. What I have on Sevagoth right now is a bunch of energy max and energy effectiveness Archon Shards to help with that, and that works out very well. But, you know, a lot of people don't have those things, and it's very difficult to build for him, even the Prime. Although, since we're not building for his 4 anymore, that saves, like, you know, 15 Forma from having the optimal Sevagoth build. I believe my Sevagoth Prime is 2 Forma just on him, and none on the Ghost or Claws, whereas my base Sevagoth is 17 Forma. So, much easier to use these days, and you know, all the more effective. It's just that he doesn't do what he was designed to do at all, and that's a shame, and they should buff that. But, you know, otherwise he's really good. Stynax, they capped the Overguard that you can get from his 4 augment, but the fact that you can share it squad wide is still very good. I guess I'll put him below Mesa. Big Overguard frame, also gigantic energy economy support frame. Stynax is really, really good. He's just a little bit finicky, and the Overguard doesn't always, you know, it's hard to build it up when you're constantly taking damage, because his 4 doesn't instant kill things. It's just like a relatively slow slash DOT in a very large AoE, but you're just kind of floating in the air with, and you can't do anything, you can't move very well while you're doing it. So if enemies can chew through your Overguard faster than you can generate it, there's really not much for Stynax to do. That doesn't happen very often, but he falls off eventually in a very long survival or something like that, you know. So bottom of S tier, but still S tier. He does everything you want a Warframe to do. Titania, the classic Firefly. Let's put her below Jade. You know, the fastest Warframe. She's got the Firefly shenanigans, and all of her, you know, auxiliary mechanics make her very, very high damage. Just a little bit iffy on the AoE and the KPM side of things. But you know, not every player is just looking for raw KPM. You're looking for the utility. You're looking for the ease of use, and Titania is very, very comfy these days. Trinity has been announced. She's going to be getting a rework relatively soon. I don't know if they said when. I don't know if they said 1999, but kind of unfair to put her anywhere. So, but where she is right now at this moment is like below Chroma. She Energy Vampire does the same thing it's always done, but like Styanax does that even better. And like most people have Energy Nexus now, or Arcane Energize, etc., or Zeneric, you know, and energy economy is just kind of less important in general, unless you're teaming with a Sevgoth, maybe, is very energy hungry. But, you know, we'll save discussion on Trinity for after the rework. Maybe I'll make another tier list before the end of the year. Valkyr, you know, very, very good Exalted Melee that makes her completely invincible while she's in it, but very energy hungry, and then she has 3 other abilities that don't do anything. Like Warcry for attack speed is like fine, but there's other frames that do that plus other good stuff. Valkyrie is just kind of a really good melee weapon. I guess I'll put her above Trinity. Yeah, like right there is fine. Vauban, caps on your CC, like enemy number caps on your CC sucks. And he's got all this unnecessary stuff, like, you know, cycling through his abilities, and his 3 does absolutely nothing. Jeez, I'm debating, should I put him like below Lavos, or I guess right here is fine. Vauban still needs help. Of course, Vauban is the new Mag, where since Mag got buffed and she's actually like usable in a meta way now, people, you know, have stopped arguing about her. That same energy has been migrated over to Vauban. There's Vauban stands out there. You know who you are. I'm just not gonna comment on it. Bolt, you know, huge utility. He's one of the best speedrunning Warframes, both in his speed and also his damage buff abilities. And, you know, huge CC, very good for ESO and focus farming, stuff like that. Can't go wrong with Volt, and his shield is very effective at all levels. So Volt's great. Varuna, she has been changed a lot. Like her 4 now does the thing where it always should have done, where it like applies her 3 and her 2 to it and stuff like that. But they actually lowered the total status damage that she can do through that, because her 4 no longer counts as its own ability damage. Now it's like melee based damage, and that also allows you to use a like a stat stick, you know, for like crit stuff, which everybody hates, but you can't deny the results. The numbers are very big. It's just that her only defense is being invisible, and like that's fine. She's not bad, but I'd put her, yeah, like bottom of B. Like she's okay. Could still use some more tweaks though. Wisp, S tier, easy. Maybe, yeah, like right there below Saren. The classic hasn't changed at all. Put a free subsume on her 4, and Breach Surge is great, and her motes are great, and she's got an augment to make the motes more comfy, and her 2 makes her infinitely invisible. And also just being in the air makes her invisible too. So everything Varuna does, Wisp does better, pretty much. Wukong, my second favorite Warframe. Not really doing so hot these days. He's you know, he got that real big damage nerf where his, not damage nerf, but like ammo nerf, where his clone now does less, or I mean, it uses your ammo. And so you really want to give him a specific weapon to use for a mission, and then don't use that weapon yourself. And so that limits you. But you know, just having a Spectre that does full damage is not bad. So like maybe not B tier, maybe lower in A, like above Harrow. Yeah, that's good. Wukong's really good, but he needs his 4 back, man. His 4 hasn't done anything since they nerfed the shit out of it and changed stances. And the stance system is still not finished, and I will not stop screaming about it. Anyway, Zaku is in line to be the next Prime, and the popular fan theory is that they're just going to not make Zaku Prime, but instead just release the 3 frames that he's made out of. That's definitely wishful thinking, and they're definitely not going to do that. But what if, right? That'd be so fucking sick. But let's see, where do I put him? Like, below, above Garuda. Well, he is a little bit squishy, so you want to put Resonator on him to match the CC area range of your gaze. But then, you know, infinite armor strip with big turret damage, can't go wrong with that. Scales infinitely as long as you've got a good game plan for survival. You know, can't deny Zaku, even though he's got an ability named Deny. Ureli has been buffed a lot since last time. She does function in a fun way now, and like Marilena is better, but better than Chroma, better than Varuna. I'd put her like right here. She just, you know, still doesn't do. She's just an ability damage based Warframe in the same way as like Jade. Like she's worse Jade, but a lot of fun. Marilena's a lot of fun. Pretty tanky too. It's just that sort of low range, relatively very low damage. Not much you can do with her. She probably just needs a couple of augments to be really, really good, you know? And then Zephyr, the classic, way up here. Let's see, where does Zephyr go? Above Nova, around Nova level. You know, big wind, big, her 3 makes her immune to anything that's not an AoE. And everybody loves that, and you can stay in the air to avoid ground AoEs. Very little can kill Zephyr. It's just that some things can kill Zephyr. Otherwise, she'd be like top 3, top 4. So she goes way up here. And there you go. So this video has only been half an hour instead of like an hour and a half. I tried to go as fast as I could, but some things require discussion. And speaking of discussion, please let's start a discussion in the comments. You know, obviously I'm a big fan of Warframe in general. Very excited for 1999, and the next update coming out before then is what was it called? Kome and the 5 Fates or something. That sounds sick as fuck. So we're in there. We're doing it. So please, let's go to the comment section. Everybody give me your questions and your opinions on this, because, you know, Warframe tier lists in general, they're not important, but they are a good baseline to look at from somebody that knows what they're talking about. And I don't know, it's a lot of fun to talk about Warframes in relative to each other. Obviously, you could use Caliban in a level cap Elite Deep Archimedia or something, but don't do that. That's why this tier is called that. We need some reworks down here, but the S tier is huge, the A tier is huge. That's a good thing. It's just that, you know, this sort of bottom half still needs help. These frames have kind of been down here for a long time. Maybe Chroma's on the way down, but, you know, at least you can't be as bad as Caliban. That's the takeaway here. So thank you for watching. My name is Zarkator. This has been my tier list for 2024, pre-Kome, Site 09, whatever that frame is actually going to be called in 1999. Anyway, 1999 is going to be really cool, right? It's going to be sick. All right, leave a comment, like the video, please subscribe. I got more music on the way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you out on the Star Trek antenna.